On this week's weekly video fishing forecast, I'm on location at Westlake Marina in Montauk. Fisherman senior editor Fred Golofaro has the latest on the beach access, and I have an update from Montauk on the white tackle striper bite and updates from around the island from our correspondents, all here at thefisherman.com.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Let's check in with News 12 meteorologist Rich von Ohlen, who has the outlook for the weekend. Rich?
All right, thanks, Matt. Hey, anglers, let's check out the weekend forecast, see what we got going on. Of course, you can always check out your favorite websites, favorite apps for weather, local weather information. This is a general overview for the upcoming weekend, general heads up. Let's check the maps, see what we got going on. Water temps have come up. We got some lower 70s now. Hudson Canyon, offshore there, New Jersey, some mid-70s starting to show up, so those waters getting a little warmer. Saturday, wave heights look okay in the ocean and the sound. A general 2 to 4, not bad with the wind. It looks okay, but there'll be some rain around. More on that in a moment. Way offshore, we got a little 4 to 8 foot roll Saturday night into early Sunday, but that should go by fairly harmlessly. I think you'll be okay offshore. General 2 to 4 is back on Sunday. So overall, the weekend wind-wise looks good. A lot of green there Saturday. This showers around, but it's a little bit of rain. If you can deal with the water there, I think you'll be fine. The wind's light and variable, not too bad. Saturday night, okay. Sunday, still some showers around, but the wind goes a little more northeast, maybe on the east end, Block Island, a little lumpy, but most areas across the island shouldn't be too bad. There's a high tide Saturday, North Shore for the early morning, South Shore about midday, and temps, we got some 80s, warm and humid with some of the rain, maybe about 80, a little cooler on Sunday. Let's check the Guru. I like the Wind Guru, one of my favorite sites here. And there's your Saturday, and again, light and variable, not much of a breeze, so ocean should be like a lake, but there will be some rain around. Sunday's okay, northeast, a little light and variable, not bad, but again, you got some of this rain and cloud cover to contend with. But if that's the worst of it, not a terrible weekend, be safe as always. Enjoy, catch 'em up. Matt, back to you.
I had the opportunity to come into Montauk and do some white tackle bass fishing on a boat and using snap-jigging as a technique. Check it out. All right, let's get started here. This is snap-jigging off of Montauk. We're using a snap-jigging rod. It's a 3/16 to 5/8 ounce St. Croix rod. I have a Van Sylvia 50 on there, loaded with 10-pound braid. I use yellow braid to watch the line a lot easier. I'm also using a 30-pound fluorocarbon leader. As you can see, I'm putting an immense amount of pressure on this fish right here. Just want to keep him coming up, keep his head coming up. He's taking some line. If he wants to take line, let him do so. He's going to tire out pretty quickly. Once he stops, I keep him moving up toward me. Like I said, you can put a lot of pressure on these fish with these little rods. You'd be very surprised. Just want to keep that fish coming. Don't want to let him hang in that current too much because he'll get his energy back. There's a lot of current this day. It's pretty windy out as well.
Should have color any second. Let's see.
Fish is coming up to the top right here. All right, I'm about to hand off the rod to Captain John. He's going to assist me on this one.
See it? Yeah.
You see it just breached the surface.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to grab that leader, grab that bucktail, pop that bucktail right out.
Keep him in, John?
Yeah, keep him in. We got a big one to do something.
Nice fish right there. And we're going to send her on her way. And she swims very healthily.
Yeah, you can tighten this a bunch.
A few months back, John Paduano did a seminar on YouTube all about snap-jigging. Click on the card in the top right to check it out. Now let's check in with Fisherman senior editor Fred Golofaro with the latest from the beach.
Fishing-wise, the summer doldrums have definitely set in. Seeing a lot less effort now and not really hearing much on bass around most of the island. Some schoolies here and there, nothing really on big fish. Occasional decent fish out east. If you're willing to head north, the Cape Cod Canal, that saw very good action with bass from the teens to the 30-pound class this past week. Wednesday and Thursday were particularly good. By Friday, the crowds were there. There's still fish being caught, but it wasn't a great atmosphere with the crowds. Locally, Montauk still has good shots of bluefish. Most of them are small, most under 5-6 pounds, but occasionally those slammers do show up on the beach, and that's along most of the north side. There are a few bass, at night, but it's been tough. It's been a really tough pick. Cocktail blues, and I mean cocktails, 1, maybe 2 pounds. They've been roaming along some of the North Shore beaches, especially like the middle, the central, and western end of the Sound. And they're also bouncing around some of the South Shore inlets. Chunking along the ocean beaches is producing an occasional bluefish or bass, but it's mostly sand sharks and sharks. That's brown sharks and sand tigers, both of those which, as a reminder, they're protected species. Make sure if you do hook one of them that you get them back in the water immediately, and ideally don't even take them out of the surf. If you can unhook them or cut them loose, do it that way. If you like to plan ahead, the dates for 3 of the popular surf fishing tournaments is set for this fall. You have the Montauk Classic, that's running September 24th to 26th. That's sponsored by State Parks and the Fisherman magazine. Babylon Fall Surf Classic is going to be October 22nd to the 24th. That's being co-hosted by Palmanock and Libba. And then the South Shore Classic is October 29th to the 31st. And that again is State Parks and the Fisherman magazine. Matt, back to you.
Now let's check in with the latest on the Dreamboat and Coastal Kayak Clash contest with Tim C. Smith, producer of the weekly video fishing forecast.
Big change in the Dreamboat this week with Garrett Weir of Long Island being knocked out of first place by Michael Briggs of New England with this 14.32 pound bluefish. That brings Henry Piacentino to third and Joseph Yam to fourth. For all the rules and details, visit thefisherman.com. The Dreamboat Fishing Challenge is the Fisherman subscriber-only season-long multi-species fishing competition with a chance to win a 25-foot Steigercraft center console powered by Yamaha, along with many other great prizes. Subscribe now to the Fisherman magazine to be part of the action.
Let's check in with Captain Timothy O'Rourke from Montauk. Tim?
Thank you, Matt. Well, greetings, everybody from Montauk. As everybody's heard, Montauk's considered the fishing capital of the world, as they say. Well, this week, that statement really lived up to expectations. We've had a pretty successful week out here, even though we did get hit by that little tropical storm on Friday. Things quieted down and everybody was still out fishing, and we had a lot of good reports this week. Paul Bruno on the Elizabeth II, he brought in a nice thresher shark, I think 330. I got a nice picture of that. Dan on the Double D, he's been crushing them on the tuna grounds, running out there, banging out some bluefins. He's also been doing really well with some big, large striped bass. So I have a couple of pictures of that. Anybody interested in fishing way out on the edge, out in the canyons, I got a report from Captain Jim Carey on the Sheepdog. They had a really good trip over the weekend. They did an overnighter to the canyons. I think they kept a handful of yellowfins up to 60 pounds, and he said they released over 20 yellowfins, all safely back to the water. They had a couple nice big tuna that they broke off that they figured were bigger than those yellowfins, and then they fought a blue marlin for quite a time, and then that was let go. He estimated that between 650, 700 pounds. As far as the fluking goes and sea bass, party boats, charter boats, all these guys are bringing sea bass, porgies, fluke over the rail pretty consistently. Really good fishing out here. Jamie on the Miss Montauk and his son Tyler on the Simple Life both had double-digit fluke over the weekend. The big news on the fluke department is TJ Wallace. He is in our kids fluke tournament out here. He brought in a 13.86 pound fluke to take over the leaderboard on the local kids tournament. Congratulations, TJ. Not only is that a fish of a lifetime, but you're a great kid and you deserve that one. In regards to fly fishing and light tackle, still very consistent action out here. Plenty of bluefish, plenty of bass to bend the rods and keep customers happy. Upcoming event, I'll be hosting a Sage and Rio Products Fly Fishing Demo Day. That'll be at Montauk Lake Club on October 3rd. We'll be raffling off a full setup Sage fly rod and reel line, and there'll be other raffle prizes as well. I'll have more information on that coming up in future casts. Everybody get out this weekend, enjoy the great fishing, and catch them up.
From Sag Harbor, we have the East End Angler.
All right, thanks, Matt. So we got some good reports coming out of Sag Harbor. Porgy is still strong in the bay. We even got some bass out in the ocean along the bunker ponds and also in the inlets on the live line. And also we got some threshers working around these bunker ponds. Saw one yesterday Awesome stuff. Really try to go get them out there. And we also have some good offshore bites, both from out east and out west along the shelf, and also some bluefin more inshore. So stay tuned, have a great time, and back to you, Matt.
From Shinnecock, let's check in with Mike Dean with all the news on the East End.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, everyone. Fishing is going all right out here. Not really that striped bass bite off the beach we're kind of hoping for at this point, but there have been some bigger striped bass in the inlet, which this new moon seemed to have kind of gotten things going, at least right in the inlet. Fluke fishing continues to be pretty good. Not as much as that skinny water bite west of Ponquag that a lot of people have been on, and Matt Broderick highlighted in his article in the last issue of the Fisherman, but there are still some fish there. They seem to be in deeper water as well. The sea bass bite is pretty good. Hampton's Reef, I heard of a lot of really nice catches and coolers full of biscuits, so that's definitely worth checking out. Hampton Ladies, one of the local boats that does a 5 to 7 trip at night, runs out there for a quick trip as well as full day and half day on the weekend, so that's definitely worth getting out there for. Tuna Hereford Canyon Challenge, a couple of really nice bluefin and big eye taken. Not sure of the winners yet. I think the weigh-in was today, so we'll see what happens with that. You got the Hamptons Offshore Invitational mid-August, so people going out, getting some good intel and getting on some really nice fish. The typical in the back bays, seeing a little more bait, the bait's getting a little bit larger, so those marshy areas, pretty much all around, as close as you can get to the inlet with that cool ocean water coming in. It does seem that beginning of outgoing is the better tide for that. So poppers, spooks, really, really light stuff. So hoping we'll start to see some more bass off the beach and maybe off the bunker pods. Montauk's still strong with the big fish, so I'm sure Tim O'Rourke has that whole update for you. So get out there this weekend, catch them up, enjoy. I'll talk to you next week.
With our fly and freshwater report, we have Paul McCain from River Bay Outfitters.
Hello, Matt. Well, here we are in a very rainy period. River Bay Outfitters was supposed to have their annual smallmouth trip this past Monday. I was looking forward to it. On Friday, it was 800, which is fishable but high. It went to almost 6,000 by Monday. Totally unfishable. So we had to cancel that trip. But that's the standard right across the whole Northeast, Catskills, up in New England, or even on Long Island. The rivers here are high. Well, we're a spring creek, so we're a little bit better controlled, but at the same time, they're high and they're off-colored. There's just a ton of rain in the system. It's affecting even the salt water. It floods the back bays with fresh water coming out of the creeks. It puts everything off. It dirties the water. It's been a tough week. Now, even the guides, when they could get out, were able to find fish. But the problem is, some of the days they just could not get out. It's just been a tough week. Hopefully, this week it looks like it's going to change. That's what the weather report says. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, we have another smallmouth trip coming up in August. Hopefully, by then, the rivers are going to be down. Until next week, Matt, tight lines.
From Northport, we have Mark McGowan from Cow Harbor Bait and Tackle.
Man, this week the weather's been like a toss of a coin. It's either cold, hot, and humid, or pouring, and the wind kicks up. We've had like this insane fog coming through. It's like that movie, The Fog. It just rolls across the water and just encapsulates the whole area. Man, I've been out from Orient Point all the way down to Cold Spring Harbor this week, and I've got to say, what a lot of fog. You better be careful. If you got a boat, you better have like a good system or have your compass bearings down pretty well. Radar, especially with the amount of people that are on the water, is almost like a must-have, because when that fog rolls in and you're sitting in your boat and all you can hear are engines, if you're a boater, you got your friend on the boat, you got your kid on the boat, and you think, why is somebody like on plane in the middle of the fog? Please don't do it. It makes people crazy, it's so scary. And those surfcasters, if you're on the beach, when that fog rolls in, sometimes, you could be out on a rock, just have your bearings down. Some of these newfangled watches, they'll tell you where you're at. It's pretty cool. It's a little less scary. As far as fishing goes, it's really dynamite. Now, we've got porgy everywhere. You've got the Fluke is still going, although they're they're deeper. Striped bass is still in the mix. We've got smaller ones in the bay. They're on the front. Still bluefish busting up some schools, but some of the newest stuff, it's really nice to see, is like hundreds or thousands of these really small snappers started moving into the harbor. And I think that's a lot of like what we saw several weeks ago and we were speaking about, is these huge schools of spawning bluefish, where remember we were throwing the poppers at them, and now they're younger, they're all moving into the harbor, and they're on these like tiny little rain baits, and they're voracious, but they're like 3-4 inches, you know. It's like a scary mini-me, but they're in the harbor. And what that means is you're most likely going to see some other larger fish transition on them, because although you've got like large bunkers are great bait, especially when you cut it up, but like a 14-15 inch bunker is too big of a forage for some of these smaller fish, 6-7 pounds, and they're going to transition over to those smaller snappers and the peanut bunker. Definitely keep your eye. You can stay on the bait, stay on those fish. Another great thing I'm seeing is that we're getting a lot of blue claws. This is like the second year in a row, third, 3 years ago, I kind of started seeing some of them, but this year they really started coming in. Some of them have some eggs, and that's great to see, because that means that these waters, they're really getting clearer up here in Long Island Sound, and we're all doing our best to keep it clean, and more and more. Porpoise, of course, we're seen to the west of us, so maybe they're going to show up. Of course, for a fisherman, when you see that porpoise, you know that the bite is almost going to immediately shut off. They're great for the family to see, take some pictures, and then, move those porpoises along. We want to get back to fishing. And nothing but good things this week, although, like I said, the weather is very, very iffy. So get yourself a good weather app. Keep your eye on the weather. Stay safe. And until next week, I bid you all peace and tight lines.
Let's get the latest from Jones Beach with Matt Bauer from Jones Beach Tackle.
Thanks, Matt. This is Matt Bauer from Jones Beach Bait and Tackle and Captree Bait and Tackle. So both the shops pretty much will have the same report for this week, so I'm just going to do them all in one. So starting out this week, we saw the arrival of Spanish mackerel. Anglers have been picking them off inside both the inlets, mixed in with cocktail blues. If you want to see a good video of some cocktail blues being caught, check out my channel at iFishLI on YouTube. I got a nice video of some cocktail blues. Also, we're seeing snapper blues getting bigger and bigger. Very soon they're going to be a catchable size. Also, we've been seeing some bluefin tuna pretty close into shore, and porgies and sea bass are moving in. And at both the piers right outside both the shops, there's been some pretty decent fluke action, mostly shorts, but some pretty consistent action. If you guys need anything to catch any of those fish, make sure to come into either of the shops and stop by and say hello. So thanks, Matt. Back to you.
From Oceanside, we have Captain Joey Leggio.
Hey Matt, what's going on, bud? How are you? All right, let's do the reports, the Deb's Inland Report. So we'll start in the bay. I spoke with Motorcycle Mike of the YouTube channel Fishing with Motorcycle Mike. He told me the Fluke is still going strong in the bay. Lots of shorts, but their Arctic keepers are still in the mix. He told me that his son had one, about 5.9 pounds, I believe it was. His daughter had some fish, so he sent me a couple photos and told me that, he's still doing well. And he's catching these fish anywhere from the railroad tracks, Long Beach Railroad, all the way out to Atlantic Beach Bridge. So good for you, Mike. Nice job in keeping it strong in that bay. On to the reefs now. I had out Ralph. We hit the Atlantic Beach Reef. We tried for some sea bass for a few hours. We got our limit of sea bass. Some nice ones too, still some nice healthy sea bass. And we also, the porgies have invaded, which was great. We had a bunch of porgies, biggest going 2.5 to 2 3/4 pounds. Real nice fatties, good for filleting if you like filleting a fish. Personally, whole they're even better. But real good action on the porgies. And like I said, it's nice to see all these fish are all setting up on their local spots. Further out, the cholera banks, the middle grounds, the angler banks, all those areas are producing. I spoke with Chris George. They ran out and they had a nice trip, catching some nice keeper fluke. And he said the sea bass was ridiculous, drifting all around all the structure. The sea bass fishing was phenomenal out there. Did slow down with that wind and storm that we had, but I'm sure it's back up to where it was right now. So definitely get out there. It's a little bit of a hike, so pick and choose your days if you're going out. Those are about 10 miles out of Jones, I believe. But yeah, the fishing is really good out there too. Also, I heard McAllister's producing fish, and I haven't heard much about Rockaway Reef, but I'll let you know if you hear anything about that. But McAllister, AB, those are all the reefs I heard that are good, all the way out to the cholera and all those wrecks out there and reef structures. Onto the tuna bite. It seems like the thresher bite slowed down, but in its place, here comes the tuna. This yellowfin bite we had was pretty close. Now, I'm not sure what happened after this whole big boat traffic. Supposedly there was like 500 boats there one day. So I don't know if pushed them off, if they're still there. But there was a great yellowfin bite going on. John McMurray's out there catching them on poppers. And that's got to be such an experience to cast a popper to a 100-pound yellowfin. Would love to do that one day. But I spoke with Justin from Chattalores, and he had the crew out there. And they were trolling around their side tracker bars and all their gear. And they connected with a bunch of fish too as well. So the tuna bite's really good. You can see on Facebook and all the social media, you can see just how good it is. Everybody's putting pictures up of the yellowfin, bluefin, even giant tuna are in the mix too, which is awesome. So guys, get out there. The season is in full swing right now. You know, oh, actually, I forgot to mention, I did get a report that the spinner sharks and the brown sharks were thrashing the bunkers in 40 feet of water off of Deb's Inlet. So that was fun too. That one year they were here, they were hitting poppers, they were hitting bait, anything you threw at them, they were going crazy, jumping all over the place. So that's pretty cool that they're back as well. The action's there, guys. You just got to get out there and do it. And hopefully the wind will be forgiven one of these days. We could get out there. But that's my report, guys. Also, if you have photos or reports and you want to get up on these, you know, this report section, you can email me or put them in the comments. Photos and a little description of what you did. Anywhere from Jones Inlet to Deb's to Rockaway Inlet, send them over to me and we'll get you up there. Other than that, that's my report. Guys, enjoy it out there. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon, Matt. Back to you.
Captain Mike Sentry has the latest from Staten Island.
Thanks, Tim, Fred, and Matt. Hope all is well, guys. Well, guys, Mike Sentry here from Angles of Legend Sportfish. My voice is a little bit groggy from all the screaming and hooting and hollering. It's been definitely an excellent week. Start off with July 10th, the Raritan Bay Anglers 31st Annual Fluke Tournament. And what can I say? Childhood club of mine. Now as an adult also participated in. They take care of the kids, provide a free tournament for the kids, which I as a kid won, and some raffles and stuff like that. So definitely did a great job. Went out there with my regular clients. My regular clients got treated to a free trip, and boy did they hammered down the Fluke. I gotta say this, man. I got a great crew. So great that I got #1 spot, our boat, and had Mike Perko catch the winning Fluke, 7.6 pounds, 27 inches. Jack Vestel right behind him, bunch of keepers. Jimmy, again, bunch of keepers. And Andy hammering down these Fluke. Lost a lot, released a few, but got the winning one. That's all that counts. With that said, guys, moving off to the offshore grounds, the bluefin and the yellowfin bite has been nothing but outstanding. Went out couple times already. Here's a few pictures of the bluefins. Went out last night, just came back pretty tired. Nice blue yellowfin. Caught a couple of these bad boys, and sharks, makos everywhere, threshers, hammerheads. So just be careful with your fish. Make sure you reel it in as quickly as possible, because you're going to lose a lot of them. That's a fact. Wish that my report could be longer, but I gotta go. And back to you, Matt.
If you would like to be a part of our weekly video fishing forecast, we are looking for social media savvy anglers for hyperlocal reporting from around the New York Metro and Long Island area. So if you're a captain, tackle shop, or just an avid angler, contact my producer at libayrat@gmail.com. Remember to like our videos, subscribe to our YouTube, and tap on the bell to be notified instantly when we post a new video on YouTube. And of course, to be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine to be part of the Dreamboat Contest and Coastal Kayak Clash. Check out this video description on YouTube for all the related links and index for specific reports. Please support our correspondents by visiting their websites and social media pages. See you right here next week at thefisherman.com.